Hi guys, welcome to another exciting video on Java. In the last video we have seen a few topics called as access modifiers or access specifiers, okay, how it works in Java. Then we looked at something called as packages, what are packages, how packages work in Java, right? We have seen examples on it also, and I told you how to create a package also. So today we're going to continue with a few more topics in the second unit. I will see you on the other side, guys. Alright, today we're going to look at something called as examples. We're going to look at a few more examples on how the access modifiers work in Java. So it's a very important thing, so please listen to the program very carefully because there are multiple Java programs in different packages that we create. So please stay tuned and I will go through it in detail. So I will see you on the other side, guys. Alright, welcome back, guys. So you can see the Eclipse screen in front of you. In this particular Eclipse IDE, on the left hand side you have already seen that we have something called as Project Explorer, where normally whenever you want to create any Java programs, initially you have to create a project, a Java project, right? In that Java project we have to create in the SRC folder. I have already told you that we have a folder called SRC. Within this folder we have to create different packages. Within the packages you have to create your Java programs. So in this example, I have created mainly two packages, okay, to demonstrate what access modifiers are. I have created something called as P1, that is the first package, and I have created something called as P2. P1 and P2 are the packages which are going to be used in this particular demonstration, guys. So in P1, there are about 4 different Java programs: demo, derived, protection, and same package. 4 different programs are available. And in my P2 package, our package is also nothing but a folder, right? So in this P2 package we have 3 different programs: demo, other package, and protection 2. Now each of these programs will have different collection of classes. Now this is a demonstration of how access modifiers work, so we'll get right to it, guys. So on your screen here you can see a program, okay. Basically there is a class called as demo. The name of my class is demo, and remember, whichever class contains the main function, that class should be the name of my file name. So you can see here, my class is demo and my file name is also demo, right? Now you can see here it belongs, the first line you can see here, this program belongs to the package P1 or it belongs to the folder P1. So normally whenever you start with a program, by convention, make sure you specify in which package your program is going to be stored, right? So in this case, package in P1 it is going to be stored, right? So this is my class name. Okay, it has been declared as a public class, right? I will get to it what public exactly means, right? So in this I have created a function called as a main function. Remember, always whenever you run a Java program, the first function that gets executed by default is your main function. So if you have 100 other classes with different functions, always it goes to the class which has the main function and it will get into the main function. From main only it will go to other functions, guys. So remember that. Right? So in this case I have created a main function, okay. Within my main function, initially I have declared a class, I have declared a object for the class called protection, okay. I have declared an object called as OB1. Remember, this is how you create an object for a particular class. You have to write the class name, okay. The class name is protection, for which I have created an object called OB1, and this new operator will actually dynamically allocate the memory or space during the execution of the program for this class called protection, right? So this OB1 is the object using which I can access all the functions which are available in my protection class, right? That is the reason we have created this object called OB1 for this protection class, right? Next, we have created, okay, in this case you do not have to write this line again, right? Next, another object we have created, something called as, for derived class, we have created an object called OB2, okay. That means this OB2 is an object which is used to access all the functions declared in my derived class. This right side is the part new derived which will allocate the memory or space for that object OB2 during the execution of the program dynamically, right? Next, we have created one more object for same package class OB3, okay, same exact thing, another object for this particular class called same package, right? So we will go to this first we will initially go to this class called derived first. Okay, we will go one by one to each of the classes, right? So basically I have created another program with the class called derived. Okay, you can see here on the left hand side I have created another program called as derived with the class called derived. So you can see here now in the next program you can see here I have created a class called derived which is extending a protection class. Okay, it is inheriting. Extends is a keyword which is used to tell that this derived class is a class which is inheriting all the properties from my protection class. So what we will do is initially we will go to protection and then come back to derived so that you understand what is there, what properties it is inheriting in the derived, right? So we'll see the protection class first. So in this class called protection, okay, within that I have declared a few variables. Now very important, listen carefully. In the first statement I have declared a variable called int n is equal to 1. Now n is a variable, integer variable, okay, and there is no access modifier specified for it. That means I have not declared it as private, protected or public, right? So when you don't write any access specifier, it is called as a no modifier or no access specifier. So in this case initially this n variable has been initialized to the value 1 and the type is int, integer type, right? So now remember, whenever you do not specify a modifier or access specifier, in that case that variable will be accessible within the same class, within the same package by subclass and within the package by non-subclass also. That is what your if you give a no modifier, if you don't mention any modifier, then you can access that variable in this way. Next statement I have declared here is private space int space n underscore pri is equal to 2. Now I have created a variable called n underscore pri and I have initialized it to 2 which is of type integer, okay, and here I have given a specifier, access specifier or a modifier called private. That means, remember in the previous video I have already mentioned, if you use a private modifier, it means that that particular variable is accessible only within that particular class. You cannot access that particular variable called n underscore pri in any other class, right? You cannot access in a subclass or a non-subclass in the same package, right? Or in a different package also. Next, another access specifier we have here, we have declared another variable called n underscore pro and initialized to 3 and the type is integer and it has been declared as protected. That means that variable can be accessed in the same class, in the same package by subclass, in the same package by non-subclass and in a different package by subclass only. Okay, these are the 4 places where this n underscore pro variable will be accessible. Now when I say package, that means I am talking about this package called p1 and p2, right? If I say same package, remember this program has been declared, this protection.java is a program or a class which has been declared within the package p1. So if I say same package, that means within the package p1. If I say different package, then I mean p2. Okay, so make sure you understand that. Next, so I hope you have understood this one. That means it can be accessed within the same class, within the same package by subclass, within the same package by non-subclass and by a different package by subclass only. Okay. Finally, we have another thing called as public. So in this case, I have declared a variable called n underscore pub, initialized it to 4, okay, and declared it as type is integer and the access modifier is public. That means this variable can be accessed within the class, within the package by subclass, within the package by non-subclass, different package by subclass, different package by non-subclass. So basically when you declare a variable or a function as public, it is accessible everywhere by different packages or within the same package by any class, right? Either subclass or non-subclass. So these are the different access modifiers which we have seen. I will basically execute this program and I will definitely show you the output also. So you can see here within this, now remember this is protection. I have declared here another function within this class called protection. I have declared a function called protection. Now if the class name and the function name are same, remember it is called as a constructor. So as soon as you create the object for that class, remember in the previous program, in this demo class we have seen, we have created an object called OB1 for this protection. So as soon as you create the object OB1 for this protection class, then automatically it will start executing this constructor of this class called protection. Okay, it will initialize all this and start executing this particular part. So you can see here it will basically print a base constructor. It will initially print in the first line. Okay, next line it will print n is equal to whatever the value of n is, that is 1, it will print. Next it will print n underscore pri. Remember, this is accessible, this variable is accessible within the same function, obviously in the same class, right? So that's why this will print the value, that is n underscore pri is equal to 2, it will print. And next it will print n underscore pro is equal to 3, and finally it will print n underscore pub is equal to 4, right? This is what happens as soon as you create the object. As soon as this first line executes in this program called demo.java, as soon as that first line executes, it will come to this file, it will initialize all these values and it will print all these values. Next, after that it will go back and it will execute the second line. So when executing the second line, remember we have created an object OB2 for the class called derived. Now in this case we have to go to the class or the program called derived. Okay, now in this derived, you can see here this derived is extending a class called protection. That means whatever variables have been declared in a protection class, those variables will be inherited here, except remember you cannot inherit private variables. Okay, you cannot inherit private variables. Okay, so remember this will not inherit your private variable, it will only inherit public variables, protected variables and no modifier variables, right? So that is why you can see here now within this class, as soon as this second line is run or this object has been created for this derived class OB2, then it goes here, it will go into this constructor called derived function, and in this it will start executing each of these lines. First line is derived constructor, it will print. Next it will print n is equal to, remember in the previous program we have seen in protection, n is equal to 1. So it will print 1 here, n is equal to 1. Next, I have commented these lines because remember, if you try to inherit, if you uncomment this line, it will try to access this n underscore pri, but it cannot access because this n underscore pri variable has been declared as private, right? So remember, that is the reason I have commented this. If you remove the comment, you will get an error. Because it will say that n underscore pri will not be accessible. So it will throw an error, guys. You can see here a red line has appeared here and it will show the error here. Okay, so next it will print this line, right, n underscore pro, it will print n underscore pro is equal to 3, and then finally it will print n underscore pub is equal to 4. So this is how it executes the second line in my demo class. Once that is done, it will finally go to the function or the class, or sorry, it will go to the class called same package, in which I have created an OB3 object. So it will go to this particular program, and in this it will start running this particular constructor. Now in this constructor, so look at this very carefully, guys. So in this particular constructor here, we have declared protection, okay, P is equal to new protection, right? So remember, in this protection class, now this protection class has been already declared separately, right? So now what I am doing is I am creating an object, one more object called P in my class called, or my constructor called same package. Okay, so in that case it will create an object called P for this protection class. Now what it means? It means that I can access all my variables except the private variables, remember that. So obviously it will create, so as soon as you create, remember, as soon as you create an object for this P, protection class P, it will jump to this program, it will execute all these lines again. Okay, it will print all these lines, then it will come back here and then it will execute the further lines. That is, it will print, next it will print same package constructor, next it will print n is equal to 1, right? So this is how you can access, remember, p.n, that is, you can use the object name dot the variable name, that is n, which has been declared in my protection class, right? p.n will receive the value 1 and it will print n is equal to 1. right? Next, I cannot access private variables. Remember, private variables are only accessible within the same class. Outside the class, it cannot be accessed. Hence, I have commented it. Next, it will get the value of n underscore pro using this p object of the class protection. P dot n underscore pro will get the value 3 and it will save it in this particular and it will print it, right? And next, finally, it will print n underscore pub is equal to 4. So this is how your first program runs, guys. I will just show you quickly how the output looks like, right? So basically all these 3 lines will run one after the other. So when you want to run, you have to right click on run as, okay, and click on Java application and it will start running the program. Okay, so I hope you are able to see the output, guys. So whatever I have told you just now, the output is shown here exactly whatever I have told you, okay. So you can go through this output once more. You can see what the output is. It is exactly what I have just gone through, right? One after the other. First it will run this particular program, next it will go to this program, and then finally it will go to this particular program, and the program will be ended at the end. So this is how your access modifier works, guys, okay. And I have showed you an example of the P1 package now. I will go to another example, so please stay tuned. I will come back to you in another program, guys. Alright, next we're going to look at another program. Okay, now I will be dealing with something called as P2 package. You can see here on the left hand side in Project Explorer. Just now we have looked at the programs in P1. We are going to look at the programs in P2 now. Okay, in P2 I have declared a class called protection2 and I have declared a program and a class called other package. Now look at this very carefully, it's very important. So in this particular demo, okay, you can use the same name, because remember, when you have you can never declare a class name, same class name in the same package, guys. Remember, in the previous program in P1 package I have declared demo. In the same package P1 I cannot declare another class called demo. If I want the same name, I can declare it in another package. For example, in P2 I have declared again a same class name called demo. That is fine, right? So in this demo class, again a main function has been used, within which I have declared I have created an object called ob1 for my class called protection2. Next I have created a ob2 object for my other package. So we'll quickly go to this particular class called as protection2. Now you can see here this protection2 is extending a protection class. Remember, now this is very important, guys. Whenever you want to access a particular function or a class which is declared in another package, then always you should write the package name. Remember, I have already declared in P1 package called protection class, right? So if you want to access that class, then you should use this P1 package, okay, dot, then you can use the class name. You have to mention the class name which you want to access. So what I'm saying is, in this P1 package, I want to inherit all the properties which are there in that protection class. Using this keyword called extends, this protection2 will inherit all the properties, right? So whatever, remember in protection, if you had seen, we had declared 4 different variables, n underscore pri, n underscore pro, and n underscore pub. All these will be inherited in this particular class, okay? Now in this particular case, you can see here, within this particular class, right? So in this particular example, you can see here, initially it will print, it will execute, obviously as soon as you create the object for protection2, it will execute this constructor and it will run this first line, it will print derived other package constructor, right? Remember, I cannot access a modifier, no modifier. Remember, if a variable has no modifier, I cannot access that variable data in another package. That is the reason I have commented this particular line, right? So make sure you know this. Whenever a variable or a function has been declared without any modifier, then another package cannot access that variable or function, right? That is the reason. Remember, we are talking about a P2 package program right now, right? So we cannot access this n variable which is declared in my protection class in a P1 package, right? Remember, this is a P2 package program. Next, we cannot obviously access the private variables. Remember, private variables are only accessible within the class. Finally, we are running these two lines. So it will print n pro is equal to n underscore pro is equal to 3, n underscore pub is equal to 4. Next, it will go back to this program. It will run this particular line. In the second line, we are again creating an object called ob2 within the package called other package. So as soon as you create the object, it will go to this program called other package. Okay, and in this other package, it will start executing this constructor called other package. Within that, now again I am creating a object for a class which is there in p1 package. So you can see here, guys, p1 dot protection. So when you write, whenever you want to access a class declared in another package, you have to mention the package name dot the class name, right? So that is how I am accessing another class in another package. Okay, for that I have created an object called p, and this is the right side part is basically it will allocate the space or memory for this object called p which has been created. Now I hope you remember in this protection class we had declared all these variables, and it will basically print all these lines. These 5 different lines will be printed automatically as soon as you run this particular line. As soon as this line executes, it will go to this class called protection and it will execute these 5 lines and it will print the output, right? Next, after that all that is executed, it will come back to the second line now, and the second line it will print other package constructor. And remember, you cannot access a no modifier variable, right, in another package. I cannot access a private variable, that's why I've commented. And I cannot access, remember, this package called other package is not extending my class called protection, right? It is not inheriting the properties of protection class. I am just accessing that protection class, but other package is not inheriting. Whenever you want to inherit, you have to use the keyword called extends. Remember, in protection 2 we just now saw using extends I have inherited the properties. That means all the variables declared in protection can be accessed except the private variables and protected variables, or sorry, except the private variables I can access private variables, and no modifier variables I can access in this particular class. But when I talk about this particular class called other package, which is not extending or inheriting any class called protection, that means it is not inheriting any properties. Hence, I cannot access a no modifier variable, I cannot access a private variable, nor I can access a protected variable. This is a non-subclass which is declared in another package, right? So that is one of the key rules. Remember, a protected variable can be accessed in another package by subclass only. A protected variable cannot be accessed, okay, it cannot be accessed by a non-subclass in another package, right? So this is a non-subclass, hence this cannot access a protected variable. So we do not have access to this n underscore pro variable. Yes, we can access a public variable. Remember, public variable is accessible everywhere. So that is why it will just print whatever value it is. N underscore pub is equal to 4, it will print here, guys. So we will just execute this program real quickly. Okay, whatever I have mentioned will be showed in terms of the output. So you can right click on run and click on Java application, and it will give you this particular output. Remember, initially it will go to this protection 2 class or the program where it will basically execute these lines base right device derived other package constructor and so on. Okay. And remember, in this particular class we are inheriting we are calling the function called protection, right, using the package called p1. So you can go through the output, guys, and I hope you have understood the concept well. And this access modifier is one of the most important interview questions that you will face. They will ask you in almost all the interviews if you go to a Java related interview, and it's a core Java, very important core Java principle, guys. So I hope you have liked and understood this program. If you have any queries, you can ping me anytime. I will share the programs and slides for this video under this description, guys. Okay, and you please like the video, share the video to as many people as you can, and I will see you in a next another video, guys. Thank you so much.